Hey, what's going on my social media folks out there? Back for another video on the KT Hoops channel. Today I wanted to talk about some of the things that transpired yesterday and earlier this morning in the league. You know, some significant things, especially if you're a Laker fan. I'm sure some people are like, why don't you just turn this channel into a Laker channel, Laker fan channel? No, but I still love the NBA all around as a whole. But we're going to talk about LeBron signing that extension, and also AD signing his extension and what that means for the Lakers long term. And then we're going to talk about the John Wall and Russell Westbrook trade and break that down a little bit and give my thoughts on that. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button. Hit the notification button to let you know when I'm dropping content videos. So let's start. Let's talk about it. Let's start. Let's start out with the Russ and John Wall trade. For me, you know, I think it's just really trading one problem for another. Each team, you know, the Wizards and Houston, we're looking to move on from each player, and pretty much I think that's what the swap was. It's going to be interesting to see how James Harden and John Wall pair together, and also Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. It's going to be interesting to see how those guys pair as a duo together on opposite ends. John Wall, I've really liked John Wall a few years ago when, you know, he busted on the scene out of Kentucky. He was, you know, that high energy, get to the rack guy, finish on you strong. I mean, unbelievably quick. Very similar to Russ's game. But the thing about John Wall is he has not been able to stay healthy, specifically these past like 2 to 3 years. He's only played, I think I read a percentage, about 30% of his team's games the last 2 years, while playing 90% the first 7 years. So I like John Wall as a player, but for me, it's really just trading a Russell Westbrook for injured Russell Westbrook and not as good. How these guys going to mesh together? You know, John Wall's another on-the-ball type of guy, needs the ball in his hands a lot of the times, just like Russell Westbrook. How is that going to pair with James Harden? Because it looks like James will be staying at least through the beginning of the season. You know, can John Wall be that spot-up guy that James needs when he has to have the ball? Because he has to have the ball in order to be effective. He's not going to be that spot-up guy that you need, you know, once John Wall penetrates and he's able to drive and kick. James is never going to be that guy. Maybe, you know, as he gets older, he may defer a little bit more, but he's never going to be that guy primarily. You know, John Wall hasn't been that prolific of a three-point shooter. I think he shoots around between 32 to 35% for his career. So he's not that guy that's going to spot up and be able to relieve you with some shooting. And Russ was the exact same way for Houston. He wasn't that guy that could spot up and just roam around the perimeter when James drove and kicked. So that's why I think their game really didn't mesh anymore. And that's why, you know, I think really Russ wanted out more than James does. Okay, so, you know, let's move on to Russell Westbrook and what you think about his fit in Washington. I actually like Russ more with Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal can do what James doesn't want to do. He can play off ball. He can sit out there and spot up and shoot threes. He does require the ball a little bit, but Bradley Beal can play off the ball more than James Harden can. So I actually think they'll pair a little bit better. Russ will bring the excitement. He's going to play 110%. He's going to play hard wherever he goes. So I actually do like Russ in Washington with Bradley Beal because they have opposite games of each other. You know, Bradley Beal, like I said, can float out in the perimeter a little bit more. Russ is going to get to the rack. He's always going to get to the rack, but now he doesn't have to worry about so much sitting at the three-point line when Bradley Beal gets to the rack and penetrates. And then, you know, you have Bertans, you have Bryant, who used to play for the Lakers at center, and these guys are big guys that can shoot, which Houston didn't have. You know, they had Clint Capella, and then they went to small ball. So I actually like Russ as a fit in Washington. I think they will, you know, I think with this combination, they will make the playoffs in the East. You know, can they challenge the top four teams in the Nets, Miami, Philly, and Boston? That'll be something to see. But as far as becoming a playoff team, I think this does put them in the realm of being a playoff team. So I actually like the pairing with them and the pieces they have around. They have the young guy from Gonzaga. I think his name is Arukamura. They have a few other pieces, like I said, Bryant, Bertans. So I think what Washington did is they upgraded with their trade. I think Russ is going to bring a lot of excitement. He's going to bring that 20-10 and probably like 8-9 assists to that team. And now they have a staple backcourt in Washington. So, you know, I think it's going to work for both teams as far as getting the problem out of there. Houston, I'm not so sure with John Wall, but, you know, at least, you know, they were able to trade problem for problem. Now let's talk about just quickly two things I really didn't expect, but, you know, AD did resign for 5 years, 190. So that puts him with the Lakers long term. And now they have their face of the franchise locked in for the next 5 years. And now just, you know, building and keeping pieces around AD will be the Lakers' goal. I was kind of surprised that LeBron signed the 2-year extension, but hey, I mean, as a Laker fan, I'm happy. Hell, I know now, you know, my two stars are going to be locked in into at least 22, 23. So as far as free agency next year, I'd have to look at the cap numbers and stuff like that. Maybe do another video on that. Look at the cap numbers and see where that puts us. But man, I mean, I as a Laker fan, I'm happy with the direction this team has turned and gone from 3 years ago being the absolute, you know, joke of the league. And now, you know, you sit on top of the NBA, winning the championship last season. And now, you know, you've retooled, you've re-upped with LeBron for 2 years. You know, that'll put him at roughly 38 years old, and then you've locked AD in long term. A lot of people thought he may sign a 1+1 or a 2+1, but AD sees where his bread is buttered, and we are happy to have him long term in Laker Nation. So that's the quick take I just wanted to give on those two situations that broke these last 2 days in the league. Like I said, you know, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the notification button, let you know when I'm dropping content. And thank you everybody for coming back to the KT Hoops channel for another video. Thank you everybody. Peace.